A very good Thursday morning to you, and welcome to the Fixed Wing Guide channel with me, Stuart Lomas. I hope I find you very well. Not a bad day here in Manchester today. We've had a little bit of rain overnight, but now it's kind of cleared away. Usual grey for the time of year, but it's the time of year, so what do? You probably gathered by the title of this video. It's a little bit of a bits of this and bits of that video, really, because it's about not being able to make a decision, making a decision, and making a further decision, and I will be clear on that. So the bad news. The bad news is I've been unable, regardless how much I've tried, to anchor myself to one piece. As you know, I had it down to 5. I then did succeed to get it down to 3. And at that point, I kind of came to a grinding halt, and I'm sure we've all done this. I can't be on my own, where you're trying to decide kind of what timepiece to buy, and there's a number of them that you like, and you know that certain of them are going to be pushed out of the way solely because of cost. It's just not viable. Other things, there's maybe a little something in the styling that doesn't really suit you, so they're pushed to the wayside. But then you get down to the bare bones of it, where you've got a number of watches and you like them all, and they all seem to have their own little quirks, their own little design cues that you particularly like, and you can't actually bring yourself to saying, actually, I don't want that, so I'm going to leave that to one side. Now, that having been said, I've now got it down to 2 watches. I can't, with all the best will in the world, get it down to 1. I can't. I've tried and I can't. So the bad news is a decision hasn't been made on what watch, singular, I'm going to buy. The good news is, however, I have been shopping. So this video is also going to be an unboxing. And I know I didn't mention that in the title, but there are so many unboxing videos out there. So I got in my car, as I said I would, and I had a trip over to the wilds of windy Lancashire. And I went to Iconic Watches. And as per all the reports on the internet, and I do now agree that any threads, discussions, queries, worries about Iconic should be academic, because it's a great organisation. I do have one little query about them, not a complaint, a query, which I will go on to in a minute. So, what has he bought? Well, as I say, I've got down to 2 watches. The reason I bought this particular one of the 2 watches is because, to be perfectly honest, it was the cheapest of the 2. And although I've saved and saved and saved and saved, and I do have some money left, I couldn't either A, afford, or B, justify right now the second watch. So the first watch, here's the box. Doesn't give a lot away, eh? Okay, let's try. Let's try this. There it is. So, you know where I've gone brand-wise. But where has he gone model-wise? So let's open the box. So we've got our little instructional brochure, whatever you want to call it. As a man, we won't be needing that, will we? Nah, it's gone, it's gone. You got your little foam thingy, and inside you've got your Rolex box. So let's tip that out of there and put that out of the way. So there we go. And I'm not going to do the usual suspenseful thing and all that kind of thing you see on your usual unboxings. I'm just going to show you. He's gone for the Hulk. And there she is. Now, let's have a look at this baby. Lots and lots and lots of reviews out there about this particular watch. I looked at them all. I spent a whole day on YouTube looking at different reviews to find a gap in my logic why this watch wasn't one of the two watches that I would like in my collection. So let's get a little bit close up for you. There she is. The 116610 LV. It is absolutely beautiful. My opinion has only been enhanced since buying it that it was the day that I tried it on. You have no need for me to tell you anything about this watch because we all know. And I'm not going to teach my grandmother to suck eggs. Why not? Because there's no need, because I'm speaking to people who know a little bit, if not a lot, about watches. And all you need to know about this is that it does live up to the hype. The only thing I would say that I haven't heard anybody else say, I've heard mentions about the maxi case or the maxi dial. Now my theory is on that, the reason they've introduced that at Rolex is we're all aware it's only a 40mm, as is all the subby range, and Rolex have never changed. So the old phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, comes to mind. Now my idea is why that they've gone down the route of the maxi case is because they could see that other manufacturers, or the other popular manufacturers, were going to 42mm, 44mm, 46mm, which now seems to be kind of the sweet spot. If you look at a lot of the watches that are out there on the market, there are even some really big boys, 48 and 50mm out there right now. And I know there are exceptions to the rule. There are some 55mm out there, which in my opinion, you're wearing a clock on your wrist. So basically, why did I go for this? Well, it's one simple thing. Apart from if you take money out of the equation, I went for it for one reason. And the reason is the colour. The colour. Yes, it's another dive watch. But as I said in my previous video, there's nothing wrong with dive watches, and I love my dive watches. I'm a typical bloke. I have a full range of different styles, shapes, colours, and all sorts of watches. But the problem that I have, and it's an incessant problem with me, and it's one that will never go away, is that manufacturers, as a rule, are very, very conservative, with a small c, with their colour range. And with all my dive watches, you've either got a black dial, a blue dial, different Pantone colour, of course, of blue, and potentially a white stroke silver. So you've only got a choice of those three different colours. I'm sure some of the micro brands do different colours, but I wanted to go, as I promised myself for many years, for a prestige watch. So that's the reason I've gone for this particular watch. And one of the reasons is I like the variance in the colour. On certain lights, as you can see, you've got the bright luminescent green, as it were, of the bezel. But as you turn the dial, that beautiful dial, like there, for instance, looks black. So in effect, it looks more like the original anniversary sub, the Kermit, with the black dial and the green bezel. But at other where light catches it, it goes from a fern green to a beautiful effervescent green, like there. Absolutely delightful. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the thing I like about it is that straight out of the box, it fit me. It fit me straight out of the box. One thing I do like about this particular watch, and I mentioned this when I did the review of my GMT Pepsi, was I thought that Rolex could do better on the clasp. And many of you said to me, oh, well, you know, the current day Rolexes, Stuart, are far better. And of course, we're all aware that they are. They're far better now. They've come into line with all the other manufacturers and done this proper molded, pressed steel, substantial clasp, which is a great idea, and I do like that a lot. What I also like about this one is the slide adjustment on the clasp, so that it gives you a nice little bit of adjustment if the thing doesn't fit you out of the box. You're not going to have to go to the high street and have links taken out, so that's ideal for that. What I do want to say about this is I want to, if I can, dedicate this to my dad. This purchase, yes, it's for me. Of course it's for me. And it's my second real prestige watch buy that I've actually made. I'm wearing my Omega 300 Professional Bond. So this one is going to live in my dual watchwinder. I have a couple of watchwinder boxes. This is going to sit next to my GMT Pepsi, and they will live together as my dad and I lived together. And I hope that when I pass this on, my son will enjoy this and treasure this as much as I do my dad's. So I'll dedicate this. I don't know whether anybody's ever done that before, dedicated a watch purchase. I'm going to dedicate this to my dad. It is beautiful, it is gorgeous, it feels great. I've not worn it yet. The tags are still on there, as you can see. The box is untouched. I wondered, because I've not bought a Rolex before, I wondered where all the cards were, etc. Of course, they're behind this little jobby here, secreted away, so that the uninitiated have no idea where they are. So, I have made a purchase at long last, people, and I got it for £400 less than retail. £400. So there you go. Now, let me move on. The only little glitch I have with Iconic, if you didn't find this and you're a customer of Iconic, I apologise, but this is how I found it. I know Lancashire fairly well. I know Blackburn fairly well. And I also know that they are investing a lot of money in Blackburn Centre. I got there and the roads were a conversion between one-way systems and roadworks, and it took me an hour and 22 minutes to find the area where Iconic were, and it took me a further 10 minutes to find somewhere to park, on top of the journey time to get to Blackburn. And then once I was walking through the area where the shop was, nobody had heard of them. Now the reason for that is, the main name of the shop is this, Ancient and Modern Jewellers Limited, with the Iconic watches underneath. So nobody had ever heard of this. They were aware of this, and the address was called Market Street Lane on the website, and where the shop actually is on New Market Street. So I was running off completely wrong information. And then when you get to the shop, the shutters are down. There is a shop front, but the shutters, the metal shutters, are down. So you assume that the shop is closed, and you would quite easily, as I did the first time, walk by it completely because you can't see any of the watch stock in the window, which I understand. I understand that somebody can drive a car through the window, and so finding it and then getting to it once you found it, and the appearance that the shop is actually closed is the only downside. Once I was in there, I was treated well, I was treated courteously, I was given a cup of coffee, we had a good chat, the watch was there ready for me, labelled up, ready to go, and I am delighted with my purchase. I think it was the right choice for me. I've saved a long time for that watch. And had I gone down the route of just a conventional subby, either a black date or a black no date, I would have been disappointed in myself, because I said I wasn't going to do that, and I've always said that I wanted to go a little bit left field. And in my last video, I did say that, you know, if you wanted to go a little bit left field, you could go really left field if you have some money, and you could go ever so slightly left field if you want to stay within your budget. Well, two things: I had to stay within my budget, I just had to. And secondly, I've gone that left field because there are not many people who have the Hulk. You don't see many. I've not seen many in shop windows, and the one that I tried on 3 days after, when I took my beloved down to have a look at it prior to my purchase in Manchester, it had gone. So you're not going to see many on the wrist, you're not going to see many in shop windows, you're just not going to see many. So I've gone down the route of exclusivity, and I've gone down the route of getting a watch which fits my criteria of loving colour. Now, the second watch is the IWC. I keep calling it my IWC, and that's probably because I've got a thing in my brain now which says at some point in the future it is going to be mine. I just couldn't justify that right now. But I will. I'm very structured in my saving. I have some money left because I got such a good discount on this, and I will start saving again. At some point in the future, I will acquire the IWC. Now, the decision I've made is this. A few videos back, I said something to the effect, I can't remember what the video was called, but it was based around me saying that when I bought my next prestige watch, that would close down my collection, and I think it will. I could be quite happy right now. I could be completely happy with this and say, that's it, I'm done. I have no need now to spend any more money. This is not a race. I'm not in a competition with anybody. I now own a vintage Rolex. I own a brand new model Rolex. I own an Omega Seamaster Professional. I also own my Seiko Chronograph Pogue, which I love, which is quite highly thought of. And I own all my stuff that good old Archie would call filler. So I could stop here. I could stop here and know full well that I wouldn't be criticised from anyone regarding the content of my collection, even if I cared about that kind of thing. But I'm not going to stop just yet. I will go down the route of the IWC. It may be a long time. It depends on how I am, whether I, one, have the money, two, whether I'm well enough, to be perfectly honest, because the older I get, the more health problems I'm having, or apparently seem to be having. So it may well be the case that even though we have the NHS here in Britain, I may have to pump some money into my own well-being. Like I've recently had to have bars, etc. fitted in my bathroom, etc. So that might be the only thing that will curtail me getting my next watch. But for now, that's it. Dedicated to my dad, to live next door to my dad, in the watch box, in the hope that when it's passed on, this will be loved the same way as I love my GMT. So, that's it for this one. I hope that you're pleased that I've got this. I hope that the reaction is good. I hope it's something you all like. If it's not, I do. I like it. I love it. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful piece. And you know, unlike the feedback that I'm getting on research, they're all saying, "Oh, it could be a future classic." I don't care. You know, it's a watch for me that I love, that I want. If it loses money, it doesn't matter because I'm never going to sell it. It'll be on my wrist. In fact, it'll be on my wrist from Saturday. I'm going to start a couple of weeks wearing it and see how it feels. So, questions, queries, suggestions, reactions to this, let me know down below, as always. If you want me to cover anything in particular, by all means, down below. Thank you very much indeed for my couple of new subscribers in the last couple of days. I think I have contacted you all. If I've not, drop me a line and I will send you a note. So for now, I'll leave you with a passing ending view of my little new beauty, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.